And good afternoon. A departure from the norm. The Barclays Premier League is operating a Sunday service, and Gavin Peacock, Coventry manager Iain Dowie and Garth Crooks have been following the action. 8 games on the fixture list. Arsenal 3, Sunderland 2 is a result, Reading 1, Derby 0 is a result. Full details on those matches to come, but let's start with the news from the other games. Unbeaten Liverpool playing Tottenham at Anfield. It's all over. Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, they're just heading off the pitch now to an ovation from everyone. A fine game. The points shared. Liverpool 2, Spurs 2. Rafa's roast beef will taste that little bit better tonight. Yoel's Yorkshires might just stick in the throat a little after a late Liverpool leveller at Anfield. Liverpool, in fact, dominated the early part of the game, underlined when Robinson failed to hold Steve Gerrard's free kick and Voronin punished him by tucking away the rebound. It seemed just a matter of time before Liverpool would extend their lead, but when a Steven Gerrard free kick struck a post, it instead seemed to inspire Spurs. 2 carbon copy goals either side of the break silenced the Anfield congregation. Robinson's long kick, Berbatov's flicked header, Keane's oh-so-cool finish undressed Liverpool's defence twice, route 1, 2 and 3. Liverpool poured forward late on and finally found their reward. Finnan's cross, Torres rose to head past Robinson. Rough on Spurs, but gripping Sunday stuff. Liverpool 2, Spurs 2.
Manchester City went into a home game with Middlesbrough in 3rd place, and with a 100% record, Richard Askham.
3-1 Manchester City. City's fans often sing it's just like watching Brazil, usually with an ironic smile. No irony needed today, with their own Brazilian Alano outstanding. They played some great stuff. After a Chris Riggott own goal, Alano took over. A great strike for the second, a perfect free kick for the third. Borough, who never gave up, grabbed a goal late on through Ben Hutchinson.
First win for Chelsea under Avram Grant. Damien Johnson reporting.
That's right, Ray. A first-half goal from Salomon Kalou ended a Chelsea goal drought in the Premier League that dates back to August the 25th. He drilled in from an acute angle. It was an open, entertaining first half, certainly, with chances at both ends. Petr Cech denied Campo and Anelka, as Bolton played with a kind of confidence that belies their lowly position in the league. Sammy Lee left out skipper Kevin Nolan and Gary Speed, neither featured in the 16-man squad. Bolton were also denied a penalty in the first half. Steve Sidwell appeared to handle in the Chelsea area. Chances were at a premium in the second half, although both sides threatened on occasions. A late header from substitute Stelios bounced off the crossbar. Chelsea hang on for Avram Grant's first win as manager.
To St James's Park, and guess who was on the score sheet? Steve Sutton.
Yes, Ray, it's finished Newcastle 3, Everton 2, but all the headlines on Monday morning's papers will belong to Michael Owen. He came on as a second-half substitute, and within a few minutes he'd set up Newcastle's second goal for Emre, and then 5 minutes later Newcastle won a free kick. Michael Owen left unmarked in the box, his header finding the top corner of the Everton net. Nicky Butt with an exquisite chip in the first half had given Newcastle the lead. Andy Johnson, he's on his way back from injury as well. He equalised on 52 right at the death. Mikel Arteta nicked one back for Everton, but it was too late. It's finished 3-2.
And to Ewood Park, Blackburn up to 5th in the table. Alan Biggs reporting.
Beating Birmingham at 2-1, and no real question that Blackburn were just the better side here, nor any argument about the penalty that brought their important second goal. But what happened fractionally before that, when a potential Birmingham equaliser from Gary McSheffrey was ruled offside and looked just on, will be a talking point, and so from a better perspective will be a fine Blackburn opener from the excellent David Bentley, shooting sharply on the turn. Substitute Benny McCarthy scored the second from the spot after Santa Cruz had been tripped. Cameron Jerome offered hope to an improving Birmingham with a terrific strike, and Capo forced a great save from Friedel right at the death, but Blackburn deservedly have just edged it.
Arsenal are top of the table. More details on their game with Sunderland now. Tony Gubba was at the Emirates.
What a shock for Arsenal. 2 up in 14 minutes through Van Persie and Senderos. Then they took their foot off the pedal, and Sunderland came within a whisker of achieving the shock result of the day. Wallace got one back for the visitors before half-time, and when Kenwyne Jones headed in the equaliser 3 minutes into the second half, you wondered if Arsenal were going to drop home points for the first time this season. But Van Persie got a second goal 10 minutes from time after good work by Theo Walcott, and it might have been more in the end after Paul McShane of Sunderland was sent off in the dying minutes. It was breathless excitement at the Emirates.
Well, Reading and Derby had conceded 39 goals between them ahead of the game at the Majewski Stadium. Mark Bishop watched this match.
If only Derby County didn't have to play away games. 17 goals now conceded without a single one scored on their travels and the return to the top flight. And no wonder Billy Davies's side were outplayed by a Reading team still smarting from that 7-4 defeat at Portsmouth last weekend. Kevin Doyle's pinpoint header was enough to secure a victory for Reading, who should have had a first-half penalty when Leacock handled, and that after Stephen Hunt had wasted 2 easy chances. Oakley, Earnshaw and Griffin did go close for Derby, but they just can't find the target away from home.
The Fulham-Portsmouth game only kicked off at 4:10. Half-time at Craven Cottage. Fulham in need of their second win of the season. Mark Webber reporting.
Afternoon, Ray. Fulham 0, Portsmouth 0. A good advert for football, a good advert for Fulham football especially. They put together some good sequences of play which have led David James to make some of his best saves so far this season. Too many to mention them individually. When Pompey have had the ball, they've tended to squander it too easily in the Fulham box. Prime example of that when attacker run the length of the pitch, only to be robbed on the line by the Fulham defence. 0-0 at half-time.
Half-time score at Craven Cottage. To Scotland now. There's the story of Celtic's away game with bottom-of-the-table Gretna. Football can be cruel on occasion. Brian McLaughlin reporting.
Well, some say, Ray, that Scottish football is boring. Don't you believe it? It finished Gretna 1, Celtic 2. Fabian Yantono giving Gretna a deserved lead after 36 minutes with a free kick from 30 yards out. Celtic, who looked tired and weary in the first half, much better in the second. McDonald had an effort cleared off the line. Then, with just 5 minutes left for play, Chris Killen nodded home an equaliser. Then Scott McDonald in stoppage time scored a dramatic winner that Celtic barely deserved. Gordon Strachan's side back in top of the SPL, but only just. It finished at Fir Park. Gretna 1, Celtic 2.
Also on the SPL, after their fantastic UEFA Cup win in midweek, Aberdeen had a home game with St Mirren. Iain Turner reporting.
17 winless visits in a row to Pittodrie for St Mirren, and on this occasion they were certainly the architects of their own downfall. Once in each half they brought down De Visser in the box, and Scott Severn confidently converted both the resultant penalties. In between times, Will Haining was guilty of a short pass back. Lee Miller intercepted, rounded the keeper and scored. And as time petered out, Miller got his second, Aberdeen's fourth, and Saints will be very glad Celtic staged a late comeback.
Garth, what's your headline of the day from the Barclays Premier League?
When are Tottenham Hotspur going to close out a game? When are they? And if they want Martin Jol to keep his job, the players are making life very difficult for him, because Martin seems to set out his stall very easily, do a job, they get the lead, as they've done today, and they can't close out the game.
You're a hard man to please. I think Spurs fans would have taken a draw at kick-off.
No,
Iain,
it's about events. It's about events, Ray.
I think working on the training ground works. You know, it proves Reading shipping 7 last week and coming with a clean sheet and getting a home win. I think that's a great response from Steve Coppell's side, and Wally Downs and Kevin Dillon will be working hard to put that right.
What about you, Gavin?
Well, I'm looking at Chelsea back in the hunt. I mean, 2 good wins in the last week. They're looking better defensively now. You know, they're throwing those bodies in the way. Carvalho alongside Terry, Lampard back in midfield. The picture's beginning to change there. That's good. The other thing is Owen scoring for Newcastle. Good news for England.
Now, all the results are in. Time for Tim Gudgeon to confirm today's final scores.
In the Barclays Premier League, Arsenal 3, Sunderland 2. Blackburn Rovers 2, Birmingham City 1. Bolton Wanderers 0, Chelsea 1. Fulham 0, Portsmouth 0, that's the latest score. Liverpool 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Manchester City 3, Middlesbrough 1. Newcastle United 3, Everton 2. Reading 1, Derby County 0. In the Coca-Cola League 2, just the one result. Chester City 3, Shrewsbury Town 1. The Clydesdale Scottish Premier League, Aberdeen 4, St Mirren 0, Gretna 1, Celtic 2.
One late kick-off, and that's a half-time score in the Barclays Premier League. Fulham 0, Portsmouth 0, half-time at Craven Cottage. We hope to hear from several managers and players as they emerge from their dressing rooms any minute now, after we've looked at the updated league tables. Manchester United spent just 24 hours at the top of the Premier League. Arsenal's win against Sunderland sending them 2 points clear with a game in hand. Manchester City are just 1 point behind their local rivals in third place, while Liverpool are now half a dozen points behind the leaders. Blackburn and Chelsea complete at the top 6, although Portsmouth could leapfrog them both if they beat Fulham. Late goals from Emre and Michael Owen lift Newcastle above Everton. Bottom side Derby remain pointless away from home after defeat at Reading. Bolton put in a battling performance against Chelsea, but that is just 1 win in 11 games for Sammy Lee. Defeats for Sunderland and Middlesbrough leave them just a point above the bottom 3. Victory at Anfield would have taken Tottenham to 13th. Instead, they remain just about in the relegation zone, 4th bottom. League 2, well, there was one match today. Chester moving up to 3rd after a 3-1 win against Shrewsbury. That's now 4 wins from 5 for Bobby Williamson's side, who join MK Dons and Hereford in the automatic promotion places. Shrewsbury stay 9th. At the other end of the table, it's as you were. Mansfield propping up the division and Lincoln a point from safety. And in the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Celtic really left it late with 2 goals in the final 4 minutes to see off the spirited Gretna performance today, who had the lead for the majority of the match. The boys returned to the top of the table at the expense of Hibs, who dropped to 2nd. Gretna stay bottom of the table, 3 points adrift of St Mirren, Inverness and Falkirk. In the days of the match, Aberdeen battered St Mirren 4-0, a defeat that sees the Buddies slip to 11th, while Aberdeen remain in 8th place. Time for Gavin Peacock, Iain, Dowie and Garth Crooks to offer their opinions on today's performances in the light of today's top football stories. Spurs are denied at Anfield by a late Fernando Torres header. 2 goals from Robin van Persie send Arsenal top as the Gunners make it 10 wins on the trot. Solomon Kalou ends Chelsea's goal drought as Avram Grant gets his first league win. A delightful double from Elano and a ricket from Riggett helped Manchester City maintain their 100% home record. King Kevin is the toast of the royal family as Doyle heads Reading in the right direction. No European hangover for Blackburn. They're up to 5th after beating Birmingham at Ewood Park. And Michael Owen comes off the bench to seal victory against Everton. Great news for Newcastle and for England. And all the goals, all the saves and all the major incidents will feature in tonight's Match of the Day 2, 10 o'clock start here on BBC 2. Well, Garth, quite a day. Michael Owen coming off the bench to get to score there would be terrific for Newcastle and for England, as we heard. Yeah,
I mean, if you've got Michael Owen available, then you're in business. I mean, he's a natural goal scorer. I don't care whether you're a defender, I don't care whether you're an attacker, you recognise what he's capable of, and if he's available for England, they're in good shape. Avram Grant gets his first win as the Chelsea manager.
Yeah, it's excellent for him. You know, again, another clean sheet, back to more Chelsea-like in terms of grinding the result out. You know, that Peter Cech was very, very busy. Sedwell was lucky to get away with a real strong penalty shout, but Cech made 2 excellent saves from Campone and Elka, and Kalou comes up with a great goal that will disappoint Sammy Lee for sure, because it was a direct goal. It's been a few direct goals in this game today.
There was some great play from Arsenal in their victory over Sunderland, but Manchester City, the Manchester City fans will be deliriously happy with another home win today.
It's tremendous, and they're doing it with a style, and they're doing it with this system, Ray, where they're playing at home. It's almost like they're playing away with one up front, and Ilano just off, and Penza up front, who is just causing teams untold problems. He's got so much ability, so much skill. He's been an amazing player to watch this season.
A change of sport now. The result of today's Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe was the subject of a steward's inquiry. It went on for almost 40 minutes. Here's Claire Balding with the news of what happened.
Major drama here at Longchamp. There was a steward's inquiry that lasted 35 minutes, and then finally the news came through that Dylan Thomas keeps the race. Aidan O'Brien wins his first arc, Kieran Fallon his second. They finished ahead of Youmzain. It was a thrilling finish, but the aftermath was incredibly tense. The steward's inquiry lasted forever. Eventual relief for Fallon. He could appear on the trophy podium and accept a very small trophy from a very tall lady. Bear in mind that tomorrow he appears at the Old Bailey as the big trial into corruption in racing gets underway. He will be in the headlines for weeks to come.
And that's the long and the short of it from the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Arsenal back on the top of the Barclays Premier League. 3-2 win over Sunderland at the Emirates. Post-match reaction now.
We looked cruising at 2-0, and that it was an easy game. And suddenly we lost urgency a little bit, and you lose 3-4%, is enough to get a team like Sunderland back into it. And suddenly coming out of a dressing room, it's 2-2. Then it was down to mental test. And in the end, we found through our quality and our resilience a third goal with Van Persie.
I think we're not a bad team. I know we've got still a hell of a lot to do. But we've got some good players who can handle the ball, and when you come to a place like this, you've got to be comfortable on the ball, and some of our players done that. Of course, we still conceded 3 goals, but again, having gone 2 goals on after 10 or 15 minutes, it was always going to be difficult. But again, once the players keep showing that character, drive and attitude, and hopefully we'll have a chance.
I know that when we was in training camp in Austria, we know that we have a good team, a good squad, it's good spirit in the team, so we just ask every single player to put a little bit more his heart in every single game, and the spirit has changed. It's not the team who changed, it's the spirit who changed, because now when we go on the pitch, we just want to, no matter what happens, what we want is take our 3 points and go home. We don't want to play good football or not, because I think last year he was playing good football, and a lot of time he was drawing 1-1 or losing 1-0 down. So this year we just playing good football, and the most important thing, we don't have to forget the job, is taking the 3 points. Right. And I think at the beginning of this season, we're doing well, we're playing good football, we're taking the 3 points at any game, so we are very pleased with our form.
Finally, can I just ask you, is Roy Keane invited into the manager's office for a glass of wine?
Always.
And that's Arsenal's 10th consecutive win. We say nice things about Arsenal every week. What's your assessment of Sunderland and their chances in the Premier League?
Well, they're going to be in a battle for the rest of the season. I think that of that there's no doubt, and Roy Keane is under no illusions that there'd be anything different. There's going to be a couple of things that's going to keep them up. Can they get enough goals? Kenwyne Jones looks like he may be able to do that for them alongside Chopra. And the other thing is in the manager. Can he keep their belief? Can he inspire them? And from what I've seen of Roy Keane, not only as a player but as a manager and the way he speaks, I think within that dressing room he could be the man to do that.
It seems as the Arsenal players, we've been talking in recent weeks about Henry's departure and how other players have now grown in stature, grown in personality, and have grown on the pitch too. They look really good, don't they?
Yeah, I think they've got a couple of natural leaders, and the young men. I think Fabregas is a natural leader. I think Adebayor leads the front line now. He wants to have taken the mantle from Robin van Persie. He stepped up and said, I'm the big man here. Let Robin come under my wing, although Robin's an outstanding talent. And I think that them two players, it's so much so that Silva's not even in the team at the moment, Gilberto Silva. So, for me, they're key acquisitions. And to be fair, Roy, I think Roy should be delighted because they caused Arsenal a lot of problems today. I thought Kenwyne Jones caused Senderos a lot of problems with his physicality, and they went there and played.
What are your thoughts on the Arsenal?
I think it's really interesting what a current manager looks for in a title, the things that leap out at him. Straight away he's captured not just talented players, but something extra, leadership, and I think he's absolutely right. I think Adebayor and Fabregas are 2 leaders, and they've come through very well. For Sunderland, it's very simple, in my view. If Sunderland survive, then Roy Keane's had a successful season.
More points have slipped away for Liverpool this afternoon, and it could have been much, much worse. Here's Rafa Benitez.
Rafa, you've just asked for another look at the 2 Tottenham goals today. Not happy?
No, not really, because I think that were 2 very, very bad mistakes. Really disappointed because we were controlling the game, we were creating chances. We didn't take our chances, but I think that was clear that we could win, and we conceded 2 goals that you cannot explain.
And defending like that just hasn't been like your team after 5 Premier League clean sheets.
Yeah. It's something that you cannot believe, but it's true. We conceded 2 goals, and especially also the second one.
at the beginning of the second half is something that is difficult to explain.
You called for character from your players after Wednesday's defeat. Did you feel, at least for the first half hour, you were getting that?
I think that the first half we deserve more, and we keep working hard until the end. No? We could score the second goal, and maybe we were pushing and trying, and until the end. That is the positive thing. But you know, in football, the small details can change the games, and in this case, 2 goals conceded were a big difference, because we were a little bit under anxiety, and then we had more problems. But at least I think that the first half the team was good, really good, and the second half at the end we showed character.
Do you think in the end you got what you deserved from the game?
It's difficult because we had chances, especially the first half, no? And then if you score the second goal, I think that will be a different situation now. But that is football, and we need to learn from the future, for the future.
Fernando Torres got your all-important second goal. He had a quiet day, but then I guess that's what good strikers are there for.
Yeah, I think that the strikers, they were playing well and working hard during the whole game. But at least at the end he could score a very good goal, and really important for us.
You have a break now for internationals. Has that come at a good time for you? Something not quite right with the team at the moment?
It's good if you have your players here, but they will be travelling all around the world. Then I don't think that would be the best situation now for changing things.
Liverpool 2 wins off the title pace, and the next game's Everton away and Arsenal at home. Everyone says Liverpool are going to challenge for the title. There's points slipping away week in, week out at the moment.
Not on their current league form, they're not going to challenge for the title, and I think Benitez's demeanour said it all. I mean, he's bitterly disappointed. The 2 goals he gave away were awful. But having given away 2 goals, you then look to Spurs and say, why can you not close this game out? Because in football, particularly in the Premier League, it's about the opportunities. You take your opportunities. And I just feel really strongly that if the Spurs players really want Martin to keep his job, they close games out.
As a current manager, how do you view rotation? Rafa loves rotation, and what do you feel about it?
Well, I think in forward areas, when people are in hot runs of form, I think it's a risky strategy. I think rotation, I would be more of akin to rest them from training, to really downsize their workload during the week, just to keep them fresh for games. But Rafa's always done it, and he's been successful with it. I mean, I disagree with it. I think Liverpool will challenge. What will drive him mad today was the manner of the goals. 2, I mean, Robinson kicks a fantastic ball, but they're too deep, far too deep. Sammy doesn't win the first header, which you can lose headers against. Berbatov is good, but then you're asking the 2 full-backs and the other centre-half to cover around. They did neither. 1 flick, 1 touch, same goals, you know, and really that would be driving him out. And as you said, it's so unlike Liverpool. Having said that, I think they did show character today. He said no, only half an hour. They came back, they kept going 90 plus 2 minutes. Torres comes up with a goal. You know, big goal. As Garth said on the way home, Martin will be absolutely livid.
OK, some character from Liverpool, but the Champions League defeat, and now 2 more Premier League points go missing this afternoon. How serious is this position?
Well, I don't think you'd say it's any kind of crisis. I think their home form is a concern. Away from home, they're in good shape. But at home, they can't seem to get the wins that they need. And the fortress that has been Anfield over the years needs to come back and remain so if they're going to challenge for that title.
The teams are on the way out for the second half of the Fulham-Pompey match. From the first half, what struck you from this, Garth? Fulham, difficult to beat you now, aren't they? They've drawn the last 4.
Yeah, they have. I quite like Portsmouth. I think they've done very well. They like to score goals. This has been a tough contest. I think both teams believe they can win, and it's been a real battle in midfield, but no one really has controlled it yet.
Do you feel Portsmouth have a lot more strength and power and physical presence in their team this season?
Well, you look who they can call on: Benjani, Kanu, Hutaka, Haridas, Distan. You know, the massive powers. You know, Pamara, all physical. Papa Boudia, you know, they've got 6 over 6'3". You know, so incredible physical power. Shouldn't take away they're a good footballing side. Harry will always keep that. I think that actually Fulham have probably started the better. David James has made a couple of good saves again. In light of today, that puts him in the former front of Steve McLaren's mind, in light of that he is an excellent keeper and kept more clean sheets than any other, I think, Premier League keeper in history. So that'll be another foremost thing in his mind. But you wouldn't surprise with this game, the way it's going, that a set piece, that Portsmouth come up with something like that.
Pompey turned up 7th, they're now down to 10th. They can do something about that. But Fulham only 1 win so far this season. Sort of game where they need to get 3 points.
It is. I think they've been a little bit unlucky in the early stages of the season. But I think that Laurie Sanchez has got them well organised, and I think they've played quite well in this first half. And I always knew this was going to be a difficult game for Portsmouth. But with their attacking prowess, you always think that they could just pop up with a goal at any time.
And there's a little mini-league at the bottom of the Premier League, and Reading and Derby are both in it. They've both been conceding goals for fun in recent weeks. Reading ran out, having lost 4 of the last 5. It was important they got the victory, and they did.
It was always going to be a close game. You know, Billy came in very organised, just dropped an extra man there in midfield, which denied space, made it harder for us. But, you know, we just kept on going, and as the home team, it's our responsibility to do that. The problem was always going to be just getting your nose in front, and we managed that, and you know, it gave us a result that is very, very welcome at this time.
As the away side, I felt that, particularly in the second half, I felt that we got forward well. We certainly did create a number of good chances. We looked brighter. First half, played with a little bit of a poor energy, I felt, and also gave away far too many free kicks outside our own box, and that was contributing to a lot of problems that we had. But certainly second half, made some changes, the team get brighter, we played with more energy, and I feel a little bit disappointed we never took more.
It's great to get off the mark in the Premiership, and you know, take 7 or 8 games to come, and first one's always the hardest. I think hopefully I'm going a little run now.
I said before the game that I asked for improvement away from home, and we certainly got that today in the second half. We are getting better, we are getting more confident, and it's just a matter of turning in this first away performance and result to go and kick us on, but certainly second half much better.
Today was a big game because it was probably the first time this season where we've been favourites. You know, Derby have come up through the playoffs, and it's always hard doing that. You know, Billy's brought new players in, just getting used to the division. You know, it was an opportunity for us, and we managed to take advantage and get the 3 points.
Derby have lost all 5 away games, but Derby on 5 points, Bolton on 5 points, but there's only 3 points to the teams that sort of above them. Fulham on 7, Tottenham on 7, as it stands, Sunderland on 8, Middlesbrough on 8, Wigan on 8, Birmingham on 8. So in that mini-league, it's not as if Derby are sort of way behind.
I think as we talked about managers being positive, I think Gavin talked about Roy Keane being calm and positive. I think Billy this week has said that he feels that the biggest bonus for him is that although they had a real tough run of games, they're still only 3 points outside getting out of the relegation. Now that's a spin or whatever you like, but it still makes people feel good about the place around it, and you know that's very important.
There's been a goal in the game at Craven Cottage, Fulham Portsmouth. Mark Webber.
Ah, yes, and it's gone to Portsmouth. Ben Jarney was the man who put it in the back of the net. Not really what we saw in the first half, but a lovely through ball in the area. He saw off one man, took it calmly. Looked like it caught the edge, actually, of one of the Fulham players' legs, and could be classified as an own goal, I don't know. But from my money, it's a Ben Jarney, and it's Portsmouth 1-0 up.
Well, did anyone get a clear view of that goal?
We all did. Yeah, I think so. It's a good turn. We're just saying, weren't we, about Portsmouth's attacking potential. Any time they can score a goal, and that was a good turn. Bocanegra gets the wrong side, gets a bit of a deflection. Ben Jarney does everything right. Defensively, it's poor.
It's poor defending. I mean, really poor defending. For me, the other thing is, I think the keeper's 2 yards too far advanced.
Hold him up. Hold the player up.
Looking ahead to next weekend now, Euro 2008 qualifiers will be centre stage.
Expectations mount for England and Scotland.
Can they take a giant step towards qualifying for the European Championship finals?
2 vital games, England v Estonia, Saturday at 2:30 on BBC One, and Georgia v Scotland the following Wednesday at 5:45 on BBC Two. The language of football on the BBC.
And just to confirm the programme plans, on Saturday you can watch live coverage of England versus Estonia from Wembley on BBC One. Viewers in Scotland can watch highlights of Scotland's match with Ukraine at 10:15. And then the following Wednesday, highlights of England's crucial trip to Moscow. That starts at 20 to 11. If they win in France, a trip to Georgia shouldn't hold much fear for Scotland. You can watch that game on BBC Two from 5:45. Live coverage of the other home nations via the red button. Wales travel to San Marino and Northern Ireland face a tough trip to Sweden. Just to confirm, 6:06 is coming up a little bit later, just after 6 o'clock in fact. And you can text or email the programme and of course phone in. Any footballing issues that you'd like to discuss will be on the agenda. Let's hear from Chelsea manager Avram Grant, his first win since he's taken over at Stamford Bridge.
Avram, congratulations. A very hard game always here, of course, but your first win in the Premiership as Chelsea manager.
Yes, first winning in the Carling Cup, first winning in the Champions League, and first winning in the league. Yes, it was a good winning, especially after we didn't win in the league a long time. For us, it's a long time, too long, and we deserve to win. We created more chances. Not easy game to play against Bolton that play direct with many physical players. But 3 points, that's what's important today.
And it's been an extremely good week when you add this to the fact that you won in Spain against Valencia. A very, very good week.
Yes, it's very good for the team because we didn't start the league so well, the season so well. And through the winning, you can come back good to the games. We make a good winning, two good winning that we deserved it. So I think it's a good start for the future.
Is John Terry okay? Because he had a very physical game with Kevin Davis, and right at the end it seemed as though he got a crack on the nose, which of course would have all England fans feeling a bit worried.
John Terry is always okay. You can kick him, you can do everything to him, but he's always available for you to play. He's good for us, he's good for England, good example for others.
John Terry loves broken noses. Let's go back to Craven Cottage. Fulham Portsmouth, Mark Webber.
Fulham ball in Berlin Wall has collapsed. Fulham 0, Portsmouth 2. A chip through from Cranker to Hreiderson. He saw off Baird in the area and slot home. Fulham 0, Portsmouth 2.
So it looks like it's going to be 3 points at this stage for Pompey away from home. And Avram Grant and the situation at Chelsea. So what is the key thing for Mr. Grant to get that Chelsea squad on side?
Get that dressing room on side. You make sure that those players are with you. How
do you do that?
Well, I think you've got to convince the players that, one, you know what you're talking about. Your coaching in the week is good. It's not dull. It's inspiring. That you're going in the right direction. Players smell when a coach is neither on it or is uninspiring. His interviews, for me, are very uninspiring. I hope he's much better in the dressing room.
Well, they've won away at Valencia and they've won away at Bolton today, so what more can he do?
It's been a great week for him. What Garth says is absolutely right. You know, that's what managers make their metal on. It's on the training ground, week in, week out. You know, either that or get someone who does that.
Gavin?
I'd just be concerned on the long term whether Chelsea will win things with Avram Grant in charge. There's no disrespect to him, but I just wonder on what basis they have appointed him, their manager, to lead them on to great things.
100% at home, third in the table, very, very close to the Arsenal. In fact, they're only 3 points behind them. Everything's going really well for Manchester City. And Sven.
Sven, what was most pleasing about the way your team played today?
That we go on playing good football. I think that we have our passing is very good, very often when we have the ball. Good combinations, good occasions. And Elano scores 2 fantastic goals, and then we made a goal on a corner as well. So I'm more than happy today, 3 points, and that's very good to have before you go to a long international break.
You've won all 6 home games now, Sven. How important is having a good home platform for your team this season?
Well, it's important, of course, and you know that you normally, in every league in the world, not only Premier League, you win more games at home than you do away. So if we can go on like this and go on winning, I'm very, very happy, and then try to do it sometimes a little bit better away.
Elano again today, 2 terrific goals. Are you surprised by how well he's doing so soon after moving to England?
He adapted fantastically, but to be fair, I think all the players we bought adapted very well to Premier League, and you can see that when we play football. Today, some of our attacking play was very, very good. Good combinations, starting in the back line, and the ball goes up and down. Maybe we defended better last weekend than we did today, but as long as you win, you score goals and you create occasions. Because the feeling was after 1-0 that this game is ours, and it was.
Your fans' expectations will grow and grow with every win. I'm sure that they'll look at the table and maybe have ideas about where you will finish this season. Sven, have you had any thoughts about how far this team can go this season?
No, I refuse to do that. We'll see. Let's try to go and play football as we're doing, enjoying ourselves and enjoying the fans. And then arriving to Christmas, and we'll see what's happening.
Garth, what do you think about Sven and Manchester City?
He's brought style and credibility back to Manchester City, and people are now taking that team seriously.
What do you think, Iain?
Big club, big manager who can handle big players.
They score from all angles and they play good football. Great combination.
It's just about time to say goodbye to BBC Two viewers, but as more managers and players arrive for post-match interviews, our football service continues now via the red button. The debate and discussion in the light of today's football results will continue over on BBC I. 10 o'clock start for Match of the Day 2. This is where we close on BBC Two. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.